Hello, and welcome to Here's the Thing with Robbie and Jose, where we explore relationships through a male and female perspective. With me, as always, is the lovely Robbie.
Hello, Jose. How are you?
Well, how are you doing?
It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too. So, let's jump right in, right?
Thank
so,
you.
just, full disclosure, this is going to be a very sensitive topic, right? Super sensitive. So, I'm going to be extra sensitive during this conversation. But today, we're going to be talking about menstrual cycles and how that plays into relationships.
A period piece, if you will.
Yeah, there we go. Because, and just FYI, there's tons of euphemisms. So, if we use some here and there, I'm sure, you've heard them all before. But yes, definitely a period piece. So yeah, Robbie, if you can, I don't know if you have an intro for this, because I think I'm going to kind of hand the wheel over to you and kind of let you take it from there.
Yeah, I just want to say that I don't think that men understand what it's like to be a woman. I think that maybe guys can be a little bit just insensitive about it. And, when you guys get sick, when you have like a runny nose, you're like, I don't feel good. And then you're like wanting us to take care of you and stuff. But like we go through this thing every month.
Yes.
And I think I looked up and it was like women spend 10 years of their life on their period. That's like a prison sentence. So just remember that.
Collectively speaking, that's how long?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and that's actually my very first question is, what is the typical duration of that?
So I think they say 5 to 7 days is the typical. Yeah. Some people, everybody's cycle is different. And so it's not necessarily you're going to have one every 28 days, which is typically what it is, right? But some people they skip some, or they have, I don't know. Everyone is different. I don't know what causes that, but the only thing that can really regulate that is if you're on some kind of birth control, that actually does typically regulate your cycle.
Oof.
So it'd be like the same day every 28 days.
But you said something that kind of piqued my interest. You said every 28 days. So, but there's usually sometimes like 31 days in a calendar. So doesn't that kind of throw it off every?
No, because it's not.
Because just so they were. So I'm trying to wrap my head around this, right? So I'm thinking like, okay, and I'm a planner. I love to plan things out, right? So I'm just thinking like, okay, if I was trying to anticipate like when my girl was about to go through that, is there like because I'm thinking like the lunar calendar. I don't know. Like you don't get it at the same time every February or every
No, not
March?
typically. So like if there's 31 days in the month and you have the 28 days, it's eating into the next month.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're going to start the 28th of every month. That's not how it works.
Oh, man. So how do you plan for that?
Well, you know what I used to do?
Okay.
When I was younger, because, I remember like the beginning part, right? And my mom kind of explaining things. And I had like a little calendar and I would put, I don't know why I chose this, but I put a smiley face on the day that I was supposed to start. I don't know why I did that. Because it's a horrible time. It should have been a sad face or an angry face.
Well, maybe you subconsciously knew that this was going to be a part of your life for a long time, so you might as well take a happy approach about it.
That's a very sweet way of thinking of that. I don't know why I did that, but
well, think about it. I mean, somebody that put a frowny face, like they're going to grow up and just hate it. I'm sure nobody likes it, of course.
Yeah, no one's like, "Yay, I'm on my period." No one's ever said that.
Yes, if they've had an encounter.
Oh, that is true.
And they were worried because maybe, it's past the 28 days. You're like, now here we go.
Then you're really happy you get it. Yay.
But see, there are scenarios when you're happy that
That's true. Yeah. I did not think of that. My apologies.
Works both ways, by the way. Sometimes they're like, yes, all right on. Here we go. Dodged another bullet. Gosh, that's horrible. Sorry. I completely apologize for that. But yeah, so, so let me ask you this, right? During that time, what should men do during that time, right? Is there, like, from a medical standpoint, do we...
I mean, there's things that you could do that would be helpful, but I think overall, just be a little bit nicer, a little bit more gentle. I'll give you an example. Like, when you're not on your period, you can maybe joke around a little bit more. It doesn't hurt your feelings as much because we're just playing, right?
Right.
But because of our emotional status, like when we're on it, things can try to, like, they trigger something maybe of like, if you be like, I don't know, like, babe, you feeling out there or whatever, and you give me a little pinch. But let's say you do that normally, like when I'm not, and it's like fine, because I know you don't actually think I'm large. But then maybe one time you say it during that time, and then I'm like, I start crying. I don't know.
Because it doesn't feel good, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, and doesn't it, and I don't want to get too technical, but it's like, doesn't it also induce like bloating and things like that?
Oh man, there's so many things. Yeah. There's so many things like you get headaches, your muscles hurt, bloating, gassy. You may have different bowel movements. You're always like really fatigued.
No
and then the mood swing. I know, dude. There's so
great.
many things.
Gosh.
And cramps and like I said, mood swings. There's so much stuff. I don't know. I feel like...
And that makes sense, right? Because if a man's uncomfortable, let's say he has a pain in his knee or whatever, like, again, it just doesn't feel good. Right?
Yeah.
And so if you got all of that going on, geez.
So yeah, you have like the emotional feelings and then you have the physical feelings. So it's this double whammy of just like everything sucks.
Well, and that's kind of my next thing, right? So like, it's like hormones, right? So you might be like hypersensitive perhaps to certain things.
Yeah, I would assume it's very similar to when women get pregnant. They say like on your pregnancy, especially like towards the end, you get like just more, I don't know, emotional.
Okay.
Maybe.
But do you and again, I apologize because I don't know, right? But I'm thinking, because I heard that you guys sometimes, like, your sense of smell is heightened and like other senses. And when I hear that, I'm a guy, so I'm thinking, oh, they're like superheroes.
My spidey senses.
Yeah, like something's going on. Like they have like a heightened sense of, but is that like a heightened sense of like touch or smell or... things
honestly,
like that or no?
I can't say that I would know any difference.
Okay.
Maybe if you could go back in time and maybe remember like the first time, maybe you could, but honestly now I can't. But I was going to say that, and I didn't know this until I started doing some research, but your voice actually is different when you're on your period versus when you're not. It changes like something in your vocal cords. And what they say is that it changes your voice in a way where it sounds less attractive.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
So I wonder if maybe you could do like a recording of like, okay, I'm not on, and then one with, and just see if you can tell any difference.
If whether or not you're more attractive?
No,
sounding?
It's supposed to be, like less attractive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if it makes it lower, or I don't know what it changes to your voice, but it does
well,
that.
let me ask you this. And again, we don't want to get too graphic and things, but are women more susceptible to pregnancy and things like that when they are on that during that time?
No, typically you're less.
So maybe that's why, right?
What do you mean?
So I think subconsciously when a woman is ovulating, subconsciously men are more attracted to women for sure when they're ovulating. So it would go to reason that if you're not, then subconsciously we wouldn't find you that attractive during that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not intentional for sure.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be that way. It's something we talked about, like smells and things like that. And, I think it's something in there, but in my experience, that doesn't happen. I think that,
okay.
I don't know. There's a certain type of guy maybe that wouldn't be, but
like you said, it's hard it would be hard to pinpoint that, right? Because it's all subconscious. There's things going on in your head,
right,
that you have no idea why you're feeling the way you're feeling.
Yeah, that wouldn't even come to your mind, honestly.
Ooh, yeah, because we wouldn't. I don't think guys think in those terms exactly.
Maybe I was gonna say, like, if there is that, maybe it's just because we're more difficult to deal with, so you stay away a little bit more.
Well, with all reason, obviously, because you guys got a lot going on. But I'm also thinking again, like on the opposite side of that spectrum. Again, when a woman is ovulating, I heard that they become more attractive, and it's like that makes sense to me, because there's times when you will see a woman, and maybe let's say you're dating somebody, right? And you see them every day or you see them every weekend or whatever, but that particular time, for whatever reason, they just look extra good. I don't know what other word to use to describe that, but you know what I mean?
Extra good.
Extra good. Like there's something about her that particular night that just looks you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just a little more appealing. Even if you had, again, let's say you've been with them, 10, 15 years, whatever. There are times when you just look extra good. I don't know what it is.
You know what? Now that I think about it, I didn't think about this before, but I feel like every once in a while you'll get like a compliment from someone you've been with for a long time. Yeah. You'll be like out to dinner and they're like, man, you look amazing. Yeah. And you're just like, oh, I just look the same as I always do. But, maybe it has something to do with that.
It has. Well, and then again, maybe it also might be that thing that you're not in pain, you're not uncomfortable,
and you're just happy.
You're not bloating, you know what I mean? So you might also be at ease, perhaps, maybe, you know what I mean? Like you're at ease and we can notice that. Like you're in a particularly good mood, you're just vibrant and sparkly.
But also too, sometimes, because I remember I get, my body temperature changes when I'm on my period. And so like I run real hot that week, right? Where you kind of like night sweats, like that whole thing. But the thing with that is that I've gotten a lot of compliments during that time because my cheeks will get kind of flushed. My face will be a little pink, right? Because my body's warmer and it kind of gives you like that glow. And so people have been like, wow, like you're glowing. And it's like, I know the reason why, but yeah, it makes me just hotter. So I'm like constantly just a little sweaty,
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my gosh, like you look so whatever. And I'm like, but yeah. So I don't know. I mean,
well, and also, and I've dated women, right? That, speaking about, the running hot, I've dated women that, are in menopause or postmenopausal, whatever. And hot flashes is no joke.
Yeah.
It's no joke, man. And any woman out there and I don't need to tell any woman that's out there, but like from a guy's perspective, when I'm around a woman, it's like we don't understand.
Yeah.
Because it's perfectly cool inside the house.
Yeah.
It's normal. Like it's at a pleasant temperature and they're like, no, it's burning up in here.
Yeah. I'm not going to try to compare what I'm talking about to hot flashes because I have no idea what that's like, but it is like that. It's just, I notice it, like I said, during the day, but it's like at night. Even if the house is cool, you'll still be sweating and like it'll wake me up in the middle of the night because my body is so hot. Even if it's like wintertime or something, I'm like, what's going on? But yeah.
Could you just like open up the windows and be like, yay, it's wonderful?
I guess so. Stand by the windows with your arms spread and like.
And it comes and goes, right? Because again, as women that I dated, like I would like turn on the AC or whatever, and then they would get somewhat cold. And of course, immediately after you turn it off, they get hot again. And especially if when you're asleep, the covers come off and they go on. They come off and go on. They come off. It's
That's
a constant
exactly
struggle.
what I do. So I'm wondering how similar what I'm talking about is to that.
I don't know, but I recently found out that there is a male version of menopause. But it's different. It's way different. But it's just the lack of testosterone, I think. And
okay.
I'm not a doctor, so I don't know. But
yeah, how does that change? You just get a little more docile, or like, like what?
We're less aggressive. We're more agreeable.
Like, man, my husband got real nice. So much nicer in his old age.
And that is actually part of it. I think, and again, I haven't, because my testosterone level as of right now is okay, but I've heard that you do get a little more emotional than you normally would. But also, and this is the downside, is the desire for intimacy. It goes down.
So basically, when guys hit menopause, they're reverting to being a woman because all those things that you just said.
Perhaps
you're
I never
nicer,
looked at
you
it
cry
that way.
more, you're less wanting to.
Well, yes, but at the same time, I mean, women, right? In this particular, right? I'm not talking about that because there's different types of relationship, but in a male-female relationship, I would imagine that the woman would want, a masculine man. So you don't want to, because I've heard that before, where women want men to share their feelings and stuff. They just don't want them to be whiny. Right. Mm-hmm. So it's like, no, I get it. I don't know where that balance actually lies, but I get nobody wants a whiny dude. But at the same time, it's like sometimes you gotta let it out. Sometimes you just, and if you can't talk to your partner, then what do you do?
Well, do you have to say it in a way that it comes off as whiny?
Again,
can't you just say like, honey, I'm been upset about the way you've been putting the toilet seat down. I don't know. I mean,
but here's the thing, and here's kind of the way I kind of feel. It's a bit of a double standard, right?
Okay.
Because we would never be able to get away with, we being men, can never get away with saying, "Oh, my wife is being whiny," ever.
Yeah, you'd be dead.
Exactly.
You wouldn't be around to tell the tale.
And there's not a court in America that would convict that woman for killing him. I agree with that. But that's what I'm saying. It's very much a double standard because we're not allowed to express every single feeling without judgment being passed. And so we have to be very careful. Men have to choose and pick their words very carefully because if they do not, either they come off as insensitive or they come off as too whiny or too sensitive.
Can you give me an example of something that you would say to your wife that may come off as whiny? Like how would you say it?
I mean, I don't know.
If you're like, nobody loves me.
No, well, maybe, it could be something like that. It could be, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Maybe you did smash your finger or something and it hurts really bad and you can't get past it because the pain is just throbbing. And
you have a temper tantrum or what do you mean?
No, let's say you hit your finger, right? And you were hammering some nails.
Okay.
You smashed your finger and you're like, right? So then you, throughout the night, you go in, you tell your, significant other, like, I smashed my finger. They're like, oh, okay. And then later on, he's like, it still hurts. And then, a couple minutes later, let's say 30 minutes later, it's like, man, I can't stand it. It's still, yeah. Then at that point, maybe a woman might think like, dude, get over it or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
because I don't think women would even complain that much, even if we smashed our thumb. That's too many times for
so
anyone.
I'll give you a universal one. Then.
Okay.
I'll give you a universal one. So let's just say that you go in, you come home from a long day's work and you've been fighting with a coworker. Okay. Let's say your boss or whatever. And every day you come home, you already know, like, he's gonna complain about Craig. Craig is just Craig. Craig won't leave him alone. Craig, this, that, and the other. And you come home and let's say you do this, repeatedly every night. It's like Craig was at it again. He's messing with me and telling me I wasn't doing a good job. Blah blah blah. Over time, I think a woman would eventually get tired of hearing about Craig all the time.
Right.
Be like, okay, either go look for another job or I don't want to hear about Craig anymore. You and your problems with Craig. Again, the flip side of that, a woman can do that. She's complaining about Maggie from work and Maggie is doing something. Again, as men, we would never be able to say I don't want to hear about Maggie anymore.
I disagree. I think that men should say that. If I come home every day talking about Maggie for long periods of time and my husband finally was like, dude, you got to stop it with Maggie. And then I'm like,
I don't know.
But nobody wants to hear the same complaint every day, day in, day out. Nobody.
I get it. But that's what I'm saying. It's hard now again.
But if you say, don't talk about Maggie and we're on our period, then you may get a totally different response. You'd be like, I know
so
you
it's
ain't
all about timing. It really is all about timing. No, I completely get it. Absolutely. But that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So, bringing it back to that time of month. So is there anything a guy can do in preparation for that time?
Honestly, this would be a tip for all men out there. If you don't write that stuff down in your phone or whatever and keep track of it yourself, you're doing yourself a disservice. But in a relationship, I would usually tell my boyfriend, I'll warn them a few days before. I'm like, hey, on this day, I'm going to be whatever. Just I have to tell them every month, just remind them to be nicer or whatever.
Yeah.
Or like some months maybe I won't say it, and then they'd be like, well, why are you acting like this? I'm like, well, I'm on my period. He's like, well, I didn't know. And it's like, why don't you keep track? Then you would know, like, okay, I need to come over with flowers this one day or whatever. Like, just be a little bit nicer. But I would warn the person that I'm with, because I mean, the mood swings alone, everything it's a little bit more annoying.
I mean, no, I get it, but let me ask you this: is it better than, because obviously you still live out in the world, so is it a good idea not to plan events around that?
I make sure that I don't have, I don't go out of town, there's no vacation, I have to make sure.
Really?
And
You plan around it?
I
Really?
absolutely do 100% of the time. I never want to go anywhere unless maybe there's an event, maybe there's a wedding, right, somewhere else. And obviously I can't control that date. I can't be like, hey, Jessica, can you change your wedding date? Because I'm going to be on my period that week and I don't really want to go over to Florida.
Jessica's cool. Jessica, sure.
But I'm just saying that I plan around that. And I'm sure a lot of women do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't want to be on a vacation feeling like crap.
Well, let me ask you this. Does it ever surprise you? Right?
No, I'm never surprised.
Really? So it's pretty, you can count on it. It's like clockwork, right? Because I heard that sometimes sometimes you might miss one for whatever reason. Again, I don't know. I'm not a doctor, and then I guess, again, this is man logic. If you miss it, then that means you're going to make up for it later, or it'll come beforehand. You got to get it in there somewhere, right? Because you can't.
No,
because I'm thinking you disrupt it. You can't disrupt it. You still have to. It still has to. Because
are you thinking an actual clock, how a clock would work? You got the clock stops. Does it stop time?
No, I'm thinking the without getting too graphic, right? Okay. But it's it has to do with your eggs and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So if it didn't come out, you have a certain amount of eggs. Again, I'm completely oblivious to this, but let's say you have a certain amount of eggs, right? Let's say 100 eggs. I know you have more than that, but let's say you have 100 eggs. Doesn't all of them have to leave eventually? Isn't that the way it works?
I don't know about that part. I've never heard anyone say okay, I hold in my eggs for 6 months and then I make a huge egg dump. It just
no.
I don't know.
Well, I don't know either. I don't know. So maybe that's more for for medical whatever. But okay, great. So essentially though, but if I understand this correctly, you guys are extremely uncomfortable during that time.
Yes. Some people have it worse than others, I've heard. Some people, maybe their cramps are so bad where they can't go into work and things like that. I don't know if it has to do with your pain threshold. I don't know about that. It could be, or maybe they just have worse cramps. I don't know.
Oof. I mean, again, just the logistics of it. I remember when I found out exactly what that was, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What happens every month? I was like, what?
You know what's weird too is that over your lifetime, you obviously, everyone's symptoms is going to be very custom to them, right? So it's you know what to expect. You go through the same thing every month and it's okay, here's all my symptoms. This is how they feel, whatever. But I've noticed sometimes I'll do weird things and I don't know why this is, but this is going to be really personal. If you don't want to listen, fast forward a little bit. But on day 2, I always oversleep. Huh. No other day. I mean, I'm obviously more tired, right? But day 2, I constantly oversleep my alarm. But every month, it's exactly the same. It's such a weird thing. But every month, day 2, I oversleep. Huh. I have no idea why.
Do you plan for that then?
No.
Do you try to because again, I'm a dude. I don't know. So I'm thinking you would go to bed earlier that night?
I have trouble sleeping anyway. I think we talked about this. But it's I mean...
That's weird. I wonder if other women have certain little things like that.
I'm sure. That's what I'm saying. Over your lifetime, you probably have things that are very specific to you, maybe, that you know what to expect. Mm-hmm. And so that's just one of my weird little things. I don't know why. Like I said, I know I'm more tired, but it's only on day 2. Right. I sleep, the alarm goes off and I'll hit it or whatever. And then before I know it, I wake up again and I'm I'm running late to work. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, and I know we kind of So I want to shift back over just a little bit. I know we talked about, the attractiveness, but you're saying that during that time, you're not as susceptible to pregnancy, right?
Right.
Okay. Because, and I'm just wondering, because there are times when, I've been married. I was married for 15 years. So guys don't have an internal clock, right? And so sometimes guys want to be intimate during that time, right? And I just didn't know if it's like they need to like be more careful, because like that's the time that I don't know if that's going the right direction or not, but you know what I mean? That's why I was asking that question, because I don't know. Some people get intimate during that time and some people don't, but I was looking at it from the angle of pregnancy. But you're saying no, it should be good, right?
It's not 100%.
Okay.
It's not impossible, but it's not as likely that you would get pregnant if you were on your period.
Okay.
But it's not impossible. I told you the only thing that's impossible, abstinence.
Yes.
It's the only thing that's 100%.
I agree, but there's I agree, but it's not that kind of show, so we won't get into that. So is there anything else that you would like us guys to know about you whenever you're kind of going through that?
I would just say, just be more sensitive. I mean, really, that's my number one thing. Maybe don't plan things where it would make her uncomfortable. Like maybe that weekend you kind of chill at home. Maybe you don't go skydiving or something. Or I don't know. I'm just saying, like, the woman doesn't feel good. She's probably sick. She's got a headache, her body hurts, her stomach hurts, everything is whatever. She's sweaty. Don't plan something like, oh, let's go over here and spend all day. Like, try to be a little bit more sensitive about, like, okay, maybe we just Netflix and chill because she's not feeling good. Should we,
and I apologize for cutting you off, but should we go away for a while?
Sometimes that would be nice.
Really?
You're like, you know what, I'll see you in a few days. Like, if you have that situation, I guess if you're married, then maybe you just kind of tread a little lightly or things like that. But I mean, yeah, if you're like dating, then if they're pretty bad, where she's very moody and things like that, maybe you're just like, I love you, babe. I'll see you in a couple of days.
That's it. Just go away. Don't ever come back, or come back after that time period. Yeah. Okay, go fishing.
Oh,
go hunting.
It's like in the movie My Girl, when she pushes Macaulay Culkin and she says, "And don't come back for 5 to 7 days," when she gets her first period.
I don't remember that.
Oh, yeah. And Macaulay Culkin was like, "What? Like, what's going on?" But yeah.
Well, yeah, and I would imagine that would be. I can't even imagine what it would be like for a young lady the first time. Like, that's got to be ridiculous. Does the world change for a woman when that happens? Like, do you guys see things in a different light?
Yeah, because I mean, there's certain things maybe you can't do. Like, maybe you can't go swimming that week, or like things that, when you're a kid, like things that are important, or like maybe, if you're the first one that gets it out of your group of friends, obviously you don't want to tell them because.
Why?
Because the girls who don't have it, like, that don't understand, they'd be like, ew, that's they'll start making fun of you because they don't understand. They're children. Okay. They don't understand they're going to get it too, and what that means. And then so if you're the first one in the group, the other girls would be like, children, like I said, they'll be like, ew, that's gross. Or like, ew, you have your period. Like, they'll make fun of you. Mm-hmm. So you have to be careful. And
doesn't sound very nice.
No, it's not. It's not.
Well, technically speaking, you're not a little girl anymore, right? You're technically, I guess, really a woman. Yeah, but your mentality,
yeah.
Well, for sure. But I mean, like, the world's changed now. Like, it's it's different now.
Yeah, it's not like the carefree, you're just running around the house, whatever. It's like you learn to start being prepared. You probably start carrying a purse at that time. If you didn't carry a purse as like a little kid, like for fun, you probably start carrying, a bag, because now you have to have things on hand, right?
Yeah.
So like there's that. And then, like I said, if you're planning like sleepovers and stuff, if you're embarrassed, because I think that even if all your friends are on it, it's still pretty embarrassing. I remember being young and like you were scared to like have a boy find a tampon or something in your bag. Like it's
What's
embarrassing.
this? Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
because
what's
you're
going on
young
here?
as an adult. I don't care at all. I mean, maybe
Right.
if I had like a purse and there was like 10 of them and they all fell on the ground at a restaurant, that
Why
might
would
be
you need to
embarrassed
carry
about
around
that.
10 of them?
Well, no, I'm trying to think of an instance where I would be like embarrassed about that. But I mean,
Right.
like when you're young, it's like you don't want your boyfriend to know. You think because I don't know, do dads talk to their sons about women's periods when they're young to know what to expect?
Absolutely not.
That's what I'm saying. So
Unless you live with women, in which case,
right. So
maybe.
as a guy, you don't understand. So if you were to find your girlfriend something or other, you may be like, "Ooh, like."
Yeah,
and then they'll make fun of you.
Yeah, well, no, they won't.
I disagree.
Yeah.
I'm talking about young teenage that don't understand.
But no, I get it, but it's just so.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things. I mean, like something too that's fairly new, and I don't know if you've seen this before, but there's period panties. Have you seen the commercials for that?
No.
It's
Well,
been
I've seen some like Depends for older people.
No,
Is
no,
that the same thing?
no, it's not the same thing.
I
mean,
really don't know.
It's so. I correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Depends are the ones they're disposable, right? Like they're just basic.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, these are not. These are actual underwear.
Okay.
That have something built in that you wash them and rewear them.
Forever.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's
Okay.
like, it's a fairly new thing. I don't know how I feel about that. I get it. We're trying to save on waste and things like that. That's
Yeah.
what it's supposed to be about, right? So
Yeah.
it's like all this waste with sanitary products and things like that. So now they have this underwear that has it like built in or whatever. And I remember when I first saw it, I was like, wait, so you put it in the washer? I didn't really understand. But yeah, you just wash them, I guess
just
like,
reuse them.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Practically speaking, I don't know, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because it does make, but like they're doing, and this is not the same thing, obviously, but like in Starbucks now, you're able to bring your own tumbler and they'll fill it up for you rather than wasting a cup after
Oh,
cup
I didn't
after
know
cup.
that.
Yeah, they're starting to do things like that, which makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like, why haven't we been doing it? Like I remember, and we're completely off topic here, by the way, but I remember when I was younger, I would go to Mexico a lot. In Mexico, they recycle their bottles all the time. And I always thought that was a brilliant idea. So you drink a pop, and then after you drink it, you put you don't break the glass or anything like that. You put it in a little container. And then every time you go to buy new Coke or pop or whatever, you give your old glasses, and your old whatever, and then you get the new ones or whatever. And I always thought that was great. I don't know why Americans didn't do that.
Yeah. I really actually like those glass bottles. I don't know why they're more fun to drink out of, but yeah, I think it's about that. But I'm just like curious of like, I don't know, when I first saw it, like I didn't really understand,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, like, well, I guess, I mean, I can ask you some questions about like, I don't know if guys have a feeling on this, but do you prefer?
Hold on. I got to prepare myself.
Well,
I was not
just
ready
thinking
to
of
take
one,
questions today. Your Honor. I was not prepared to take.
Do you guys have a preference on what we use for those kinds of things? Does it matter? Does it ever play into anything?
No.
Okay.
No.
I've had some girlfriends in the past where their boyfriends have requested maybe a certain thing or told them not to do a certain thing.
Oh wow.
Which I thought was strange. Maybe they had some kind of big get up about it. I'm not really.
I mean, when the way I look at it, it's none of my business. To be honest with you, what you use or not use, right? I have, and even if I did, well, that would take a tremendous set of stones to sit there and suggest that they use something different. And I don't even know how that conversation would come up organically.
Yeah, I don't.
Because I don't think I know I've never had that conversation with anybody that I've dated or when I was married. No.
Do you remember your first kind of introduction into what it was?
Well, my first girlfriend that I ever had.
Okay.
That's when I was like, oh.
She
like
told you what it is? Like you didn't know
you're
about
talking about the different products you're talking about?
No, I mean like being on her period and things
yeah.
like that. Like things that guys typically don't know.
Yeah, I mean, by that, well, I'm giving a lot away here, but it was my first girlfriend, and we were in our teens, and I knew about it, obviously, but I'd never, because I had sisters and all that, but for whatever reason, I just never paid attention to it. Never paid attention to it, never really gave it a second thought, whatever. It's not until I had a girlfriend that I really
Wait, hold on, just real quick. How did you survive in a house with that many women being hormonal?
They fought a lot. They fought quite a bit. I don't know if that's attributed to that. I don't know. I was a little boy, right? So I was the smallest. I had 2 older sisters and then my mom, and so it just never really, if they were mad at me, I tried to stay away, I guess. I don't know.
I've lived by myself for so long. I do not remember what it was like to live with another female during those times, especially if we both were at the same time. Like, I don't remember.
Yeah, because don't they sync up? Didn't I hear they sync up sometimes?
I think that's a myth.
Oh, I don't know.
I think it's a myth. But too, I mean, if everybody, let's say they have the same kinds of cycles, at some point, isn't it like the law of numbers that you would eventually be on the same couple of days or whatever? Like, isn't that like just normal stuff?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I was trying to figure out the cycle and like, how do you calculate it? Because we have different whatever.
No, I know. But if you have like 1,000 women in the room, there's only so many days out of the year or the month. You know what I'm saying? Eventually.
I heard if they all hang out with each other for an extended period of time, then yes, they do. That's what I heard anyways.
I don't see how that'd be medically possible.
I don't know
I think that's
either.
just something that people say because, like I said, I mean, if there's 4 weeks out of the month, and you have a bunch of girls, like, yeah, there's some going to overlap. Like, there's only so many days.
Well, and that's what I was thinking. That's why I was asking the question originally was, do you guys, like, does it ever miss? In other words, like, is it steady every 28 days, right? Or whatever, however many days?
No, the only way that I would think that it would be steady every 28 days is if you were on birth control. Other than that, everyone's is going to be different.
So it would, like, some days it might come after the 30th day, and then other times, like, after the 27th day or something.
Yeah, it could come anytime. Some people may only
plan for that. You can't. How do you? That's ridiculous.
Well,
I'm getting upset. You know what I'm saying? Because even as a guy, let's say, I don't know if maybe there's an app for it, perhaps, but how would one even like prepare for that if it just.
Well, I'm not saying that a lot of they're so crazy that they can't figure out when they're going to have it. I don't think there's a whole bunch like that. I mean, there probably is, but I'm just saying the majority of women have some kind of regularity, maybe not to the T. Like I said, unless you're on birth control, then it's going to be the same day every single 28 days. It's not going to miss.
Okay.
But, some women I think do have kind of, wild dates of whenever it starts. And then it's kind of like maybe they miss a few and then they have another. I don't know how you plan for that.
I don't know either. I'm trying to figure this whole thing out. Again, when I was married, she was pretty good about, it didn't come up. And if she would feel bad. But I mean, I remember she would say things like, "Oh, I'm bloated" or whatever.
Yeah.
And she would
was
just
that her way of telling you, just as I'm bloated?
Kind of, yeah. And then I would be like, "Oh, okay." So I just kind of.
Would you act any different when she say that?
I'm typically pretty easy to get along with in general, right? So I don't.
Oh, it's not about getting along. It's just you have to be less annoying for that week.
Oh, well, for sure. But again, that's the whole thing. But as a guy, we can be annoying just sitting down watching TV.
Yeah. Be like, why are you breathing so hard?
Exactly. So, like, I don't know what you mean by that because it's not like I'm extra playful. Like, I am mindful of it, but it feels like to me that there's nothing really you can do.
Yeah.
It is what it is, and you just have to.
There are things you can do. You go get her some ice cream, bring her some chocolates, always give her something sweet.
But if you do that, and don't get me wrong, like, I would love to do that. Okay. But then afterwards, it's like, oh, I'm gaining weight and blah, 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 blah. And like.
From one ice cream?
No, I'm not from one ice cream. But you know how, sometimes you do that. Like, again, this was where it could be annoying. Let's say I'm a dude, right? Okay. So I can work out. And, within a couple of days, I can burn all that off. I can eat crap and still work out and maintain my physique, right? And
are you trying to start an argument?
I'm not trying to start an argument, but I know it's different. And I know with women things, and especially if you're bloating, right? That's I don't know. And I don't know exactly what bloating is. Is it that you're retaining water, or am I thinking of something different? Or is that when you just feel extra gassy?
It could be both of those. I think what you're thinking about the sodium thing, if you're bloated because you've had too much sodium and it's like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're retaining all that water because of the sodium in your body. But I don't know, like, I just feel like 10 pounds heavier. I'm just like,
that's what I'm saying.
You
I don't
can't
want to
suck
add
in
to
your
that.
stomach. And it's just like, nope, you're just round and you're just going to be round for a couple of days.
Well, and that's my whole point. I don't want to add to that. So if there was something else that I can do, but I know I'm going to get...
But most women have cravings, especially for chocolate. You have to give them something sweet. Sometimes I'll like, if I don't have anything, sometimes I'll be desperate. I'll actually leave the house to go get something sweet, which is, if anyone knows me, that's not something that I do.
Nice.
So it's like, sometimes you get desperate.
Okay.
And then maybe you go back to opening up a container of sugar in your kitchen and eating a spoonful of sugar.
Absolutely. Listen, I would love to sit down and veg out with my partner whenever that time.
Oh, that's
of
the
month.
best time.
I would
That's
love
when
to do
you
that.
order large pizza, you're eating pizza, you get ice cream, and you're just like all fat and bloated together. It's like the best. I'm like, baby, let's go to a buffet. Like,
Well, but let me ask
let's go
you.
to CC's.
Just get your flexi pants or whatever, right? Stretchy pants. Get your stretchy pants.
Oh, flexi pants. I like that.
We're going to
flexing in
Luby's.
those pants.
But no, I mean, I get it, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's hard. You know, you just don't know what to do and what not to do. Again, if vegging out is a thing, absolutely, we can go do that all day long.
Well, I will say another thing too is that not only are you guys going to be more aware to be nicer, but if we do snap for some reason, don't take it personal. Like, just, you got to be like, all right, just don't say anything, but don't be like, why are you so mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to know, like, during that week, you got to have a little bit thicker skin that week and just take the punches and then just...
I mean, in general, guys got to have a thicker skin, period.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying, especially, like, don't be like, well, she's so mad at me, or like, you know, is there something wrong with our relationship or whatever? It's like, you know, I may be a little snippy, but you know it has nothing to do with you. Like, don't take it personal. And because I think some guys do that.
Can I play devil's advocate now?
Okay.
So I understand, because there's a lot going on physically and emotionally and hormonally. You got a lot going on. Totally understand that. Again, I don't think guys can get away with that same excuse. Because if we say something out of line, let's say I smashed my finger, I am bloated too, or whatever's like my knee hurts, like there's a bunch of stuff going on or whatever, we still don't get that pass of you can say snippy things or insensitive things.
But is it because this is something that we can't help, and you doing things that maybe make your life harder? Like if you have a problem with that person at work, right? And you just keep on and keep on and keep on, and you don't do anything to fix it. That's on you, though. Periods.
No.
We don't have any.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about like when you're in an emotional state. But even if that contributes to it, but let's say you're in physical pain too, and you're in an emotional state. So again, that's what I'm saying. When it's that time of month for the woman, perhaps, right? We don't get a choice. You just have to be extra sensitive because you have all of that going on. It comes once a month, and I understand that. Guys don't get it once a month, but sometimes we do have that perfect storm of just bad things going on, but we still are expected to control ourselves and keep our composure throughout that whole thing. That doesn't give us, in other words, we don't get the excuse of, oh, you get to be snippy. You just have to not ever.
I think that depends on the woman, because I will tell you, if I'm dating someone and I know they're going through, let's say work is hard, their family has some issues, whatever, I will give them a pass on a lot of things. And then once he comes out of that, once everything settles, and he'll come to me and say like, hey, I'm sorry, I've been kind of whatever. It's like, yeah, I know, but you were going through a lot. So I can kind of understand. You got to take it on somebody.
What?
Yeah.
This is a lie. This never happened. This never happened.
This happens for me. I feel like I have to be more aware. Like I said, I mean, I've been with people where they've had stressful situations for long periods of time. Yeah. And I would just roll with the punches. I'm like, okay, I'm not saying like I love being yelled at. No, but it's like, I know he'll come out of it. Eventually this won't be a thing anymore. And you just gotta, it's kind of like when you're pregnant, you know, they say like, okay, during that time, guys should be super nice, do these things for their wife, you know, make sure they're hungry, they're fed, all these things, right? It's probably hard to deal with a very emotional pregnant woman. But you know that it's like, okay, it's just for right now. It's not always going to be like this. And you kind of just don't say anything.
Fair enough. So during that time, do you guys want to talk or no?
About what? Our feelings?
Anything. In other words, should we even try to start up conversations with you guys or just leave you alone?
I mean, that just depends on the woman. I have no idea how to, answer that, but.
Yeah. Because I know that, like we talked about this, sometimes it's just good for us to leave or whatever, or just be in another room or whatever and just kind of leave you alone. So.
Yeah, I mean, maybe during that time you let the woman come to you and say, hey, babe, you want to watch a movie together? But if she's in the bedroom and she's laying down watching TV by herself, maybe don't just assume that you could go in there. Or maybe she likes the attention more. I don't know. Like I said, I can't answer that because everybody has their own preference. Like, yeah. I may want a little bit more alone time, maybe. So if I'm in my room with the door closed and I'm watching my favorite show, maybe you just see the door closed and be like, okay, she needs her alone time. Like, don't come in there and be like, can I watch it with you?
But see, but it works both ways. That cuts both ways.
I'm not saying it doesn't.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, and I'm glad that you're pointing that out, that women feel that way sometimes too, because it's usually the other way around. Because again, let's say we're watching a show, and maybe we're interested in it, and we know that you're not, because that happens a lot to me, where I'm watching something and I know that my partner just doesn't really particularly care for it. So I'm trying to watch it, and that's when they'll come by and like they want to sit down, they want to talk, or they want to change it, or they want to do something else, and it's just like, oh.
Well, you're going to have to be more in tune when you're with someone in a relationship, and you're going to have to be respectful of certain things. Like, I can't say that I would do that.
Yeah.
Like, but if I did and he was like, hey, babe, like, I'm sorry, but I'm watching this, I'd be like, okay. And I'll
So let me ask you this. During that time when you're in it, and I apologize for cutting you off again, but during that time, should we not be happy?
Yeah. If you go out with your boys and we decide to stay home and I call you, you better run away from the music, from the laughter, from everything, and be like, babe, I miss you.
Because there's nothing there, and the reason why I say this is because this applies to both male and female, right? Nobody wants to be around somebody that's happy when you're feeling miserable. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're feeling miserable, it's hard to be around somebody that's like, yay, like I'm having fun and this, that, and the other. Like, I don't know. That's why I was saying, like, should we not be happy? Should we just be?
I don't think that I would be annoyed if me and my boyfriend were sitting at home watching TV shows or whatever, and he was happy and kind of making jokes and laughing. Why would that make me mad?
Because you're miserable. Like, you got a lot going on. You got emotional stuff going on. You got the bloating.
Yeah, but
you got the
as
physical.
you age, you start to learn how to deal with certain things because the world doesn't stop. You still have to go to work. You still have to work out. You still got to run errands. Like, nothing stops.
They should pass a law where you guys don't have to work for that time.
I say that'd be amazing.
Every month you get, let's say 4 days, maybe not the 5 to 7, but let's say 4 days. That'd be a good compromise, right?
I would love that.
And it's like, but it has to be steady.
Yeah, that sounds like something they do like another country. You know how, like, where is it that they don't, it's like none of the shops are open on Sundays. Where is that, like Europe or something like that, where they just don't work on a certain day of the week, or they don't work like 8-hour days. They work like, I can't remember what it was, but they work a lot less, I think.
Okay.
In like France or something. I don't know. I can't remember exactly, but.
Cool. We should do it here in America. So a couple of things. So I did some research on the internet because I was wondering how other countries and cultures kind of, because there's always euphemisms for, like Aunt Flo, right? There's more crass versions of that. But I was looking at, so Germany, right? They have a saying for the euphemism for when you're on your period, strawberry week.
That makes it sound so cute and sweet. Oh, get strawberries.
That's what I thought too. The next one here is...
I like Strawberry Week. I think we should bring that over here.
Absolutely. The Germans, who knew they were so sensitive? That's a perfect euphemism. That is cute.
I like it.
It's wonderful. Yes, it's Strawberry Week.
I really like that one.
I'm glad you do. Another one is the red ant.
Okay.
Or aunt.
Oh, I thought you meant ant like the bug. Because there's like fire ants. We call it fire ant.
The fire ant storm. I don't know. Maybe that'll catch on. I don't know. We coined the phrase here.
Yes.
The red ant.
Yeah, you heard it here first.
But yeah, the red aunt, let's say. There's also the red wave, red week. Let's see here. I like this one. Code red alarm.
Put on your hazmat. It's about to get crazy.
It's an alarm. That means you need to be on attention. Like
that means you find a bunker somewhere.
Yes.
Run and hide.
Make sure you put on the vest so that you can guide people.
A guy came up with that term.
It's an alarm. Like, I don't know what to tell you, buddy. Like, just be prepared for whatever is about to hit. The sirens are going off. Oh my goodness.
Duck and cover.
This one is a bit insensitive, I think. The red plague. Wow. A plague?
A little note to Edgar Allan Poe there.
Yeah. Red plague. Here's another one. And these are all German, mind you. Aunt Rose is visiting. Aunt Rose. I like that.
They didn't like Flo. That's the American version or whatever. They're like, no, we don't have an Aunt Flo here. It's Aunt Rose.
Aunt Rose.
Yeah.
Again, they're very sensitive about it.
Fire
and then
ants.
these other ones are fire aunts.
Fire aunts. Next time you walk past like an anthill, you'll be like, oh, fire aunts, and point at it. Whoever's with you, like,
It's the fire aunt alarm. So then we have, and these are a little more, entering the Red Sea. And then the last one is tomato juice, which is really horrible.
How do you put that in a sentence? I'm on my tomato juice.
No idea. They could have just called it a V8, right?
I'm drinking a V8 this week. It's going to be a good week.
I
got my tomato juice.
I don't know. So the French, they have a few. And this one, I don't know why. The first one was on there was crumbling. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Like your whole world is?
It's part of that alarm thing. Like, what do we do? What do we do? Call the president. And then this one is really insensitive, and I don't know how this one came up, but it's ketchup week. Isn't that horrible? The French. The French.
You know, I bet you the French really hate ketchup. They probably think it's really nasty. You know what I mean? And they're like, what's the nastiest red thing we can think of?
Ketchup.
Yeah.
Okay. This next one is super insensitive.
Okay.
But you might, I don't know, for the murderinos out there.
Is this for us?
So the French have a saying, it's a crime scene in my pants.
My.
Yeah.
I don't like that one.
Yeah.
Why on earth would anyone say it like that? Be like, hey, bro, come over here. Look. There's a crime scene in my... Why would you...
I don't know.
I've never heard anything like that.
That's in it. If I were to try to say it in French, it would be...
Oh, yeah, let's hear it.
No,
let's...
¿Qué es un sin de crimen dan más culut? Sorry, I can't do...
That was pretty good.
Anyways, I just butchered that, so they're probably going to get mad at me. All the French people are like, dude. But, and this is interesting, they have another one. It's strawberry season. Instead of saying strawberry week, they say it's strawberry season.
I like the strawberry week better. I think it sounds cuter.
I think so, too.
Season sounds like it's going to last a long time, like 3 months.
I mean...
3 months worth of strawberries.
Hope that never happens ever. They have another one. This one's weird. It says to be under construction or a work in progress. I don't understand that.
Like a do not cross. Like no entry here.
I don't know.
Like
time to put the cones up around her. I don't know. Stay away from this area.
No, that's a construction area. Don't go in there.
Drive slowly.
Yes. Wear your seatbelt.
Be very careful.
Yes.
Because men at work here. And then they have another one that's just way too crass. I don't want to say it.
Okay.
And then, there's one, it's somewhat crass. Niagara Falls. I don't know why they call it Niagara Falls. It can't, that's just horrible.
Because it's powerful and can be destructive. If you're right under it, maybe. I don't know.
I love it. There's another one that's called Small Little Elves. I don't know why. Why. Couldn't tell you. So the French, the
Small
French.
Little Elves.
Maybe it might lose translation. Maybe that's what I'm wondering. Maybe there's something they had elves in French. So. I couldn't tell you. Okay, so the Italians, they have one. They have a couple. One of the ones that they say, I have my things. I don't know why, but I have my things. And if you say that, then everybody knows. Okay. I guess in Italy, like, okay.
I have things.
The Marquis? That doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, we'll go to
But the little elves did?
Well,
the little elves, you're like, well, I guess maybe.
I don't know. Then they have another one where it's a phrase. It says, we have guests, aunt or relative. So I don't know. I guess
Aunt Rose came back?
I guess so. I mean, but this is Italy, so it's not Germany. And then they also have the same thing. They have the Red Sea, and I think that was the other one. This one says, I feel sick. So
I mean, that could be a lot of things.
That's what I'm saying, but apparently that's a euphemism you can use.
Maybe their word for sick has a bunch of different meanings or something. You know what I mean? Like maybe...
Could be.
I don't know.
Could be. They have red light.
Red light special?
Stop. Basically, yes. Not the special part, because this is Italy. It's just red light. So you just stop, I guess. Red week, red balloon. I don't know why.
There's got to be another translation thing.
It got to be. I guess I don't understand, but it's...
But again, how would you say that? I have a red balloon this week? Is that how
Yeah. What is it? Palazzo Rosso. I butchered that. And then another one says, I have a flood.
Ooh. There's a flood in the basement. But yeah,
so okay, so the next and again, let me know, because I'm fascinated by these. The Danish have a few. They kind of overlap with all the other ones. It's like the red, Aunt Red. Wow, there's a really just a crass one. Oh no, I can't say that. I'm sorry. And then one, and this is in Danish. They call it the Russians.
That sounds...
Because it's red, Soviet Union, right?
Oh.
Maybe that's why they're calling it the Russians, right?
It sounds like a put down. The Russians are here.
The Russians, like, okay, the hammer and sickle. So they have for Chinese as well, because this was fascinating to me, but they have the simplified Chinese and they have traditional Chinese. But one of them is the eldest aunt or aunt. Sorry, I keep finding. The thing comes. It's a phrase. The thing comes. Whatever the thing is, we know what the... Oh, this one's kind of cute. Regular holiday.
Again, I'm trying to put a good spin on it. I'm on holiday this
They do.
week.
The Chinese have done really good. The good friend.
I disagree.
I mean, the old friend.
Oh, wow, okay. That one.
Special situation. If you have a special situation
That's a
going
very
on.
classy way of saying it.
I'm telling you.
Excuse me, Jose. I have a situation. There's a situation here.
And you're going to like this last one in simplified Chinese. Not convenient. Which I would think is really not convenient for anybody when that happens.
Yes.
And then traditional Chinese, they have the red tea. Like that. And then they do this one's weird. This one must lose translation. Apple bread. I don't know what that comes from. But, okay. So we're going to go over to Japanese now. Okay. And I like this one, but it's not good. Bloody festival.
That's the worst thing that you've said so far. That's terrible. I don't like that one.
Oh, they do have another one. Girls' Day.
But it's not just a day.
I know. It's like days.
Girls' Week.
This one does not make sense at all. But it's on this website. It's Japanese, and it's called Arrival of Matthew Perry.
Oh my, what? Oh, poor Matthew Perry.
That's I don't know. So, and the list goes on. I don't know. We have two more if you want to. We have Spanish and Russian. I don't know if you want to go through those or not.
No, I think that last one was
Matthew Perry.
Yeah, that's upsetting. Poor guy.
So I think I learned quite a bit on this call for sure. Thank you for enlightening me. And hopefully it'll help some men be a little more sensitive. And, I still have tons of questions, but it's more technical stuff because that's just the way my brain works. Go to your local
doctor.
Yeah, or Google it, one of the two, right?
Yeah, but then it's in your Google history forever.
Yeah. But, it is, again, I know... knowing about the emotions, knowing about the physical, the bloating, the headaches, the cramps, all that stuff, it does play into it. And we should be more sensitive because it's tough.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you again. I really appreciate it and had a good conversation. So.
Me too.
All right. Till next time.
Bye.
All right. Bye.